We'll begin our Bible class in just a minute. Lynn Mahone is going to lead us in our opening prayer. Our passage of study this morning is going to be from James chapter 3. James chapter 3. If you'd like to go ahead and turn there, beginning in verse 13. Thank you for being here for our Bible class. We'll begin with our prayer updates. Let's continue to remember Ernie Tremblay after he had a stent put into a bypass. So it's kind of complex. He has a number of bypasses, but he's recovering, doing much better. So please continue to pray for Ernie and Carol. Before Blessing left after school, he announced that had 3 sisters expecting at the same time. Well, that's amazing. One of them has since delivered in the past week. So please continue to remember Blessing's sisters. I think he has there's 10 children in his family. Does that sound right? It's a big family. Linda Shirkey has been struggling after some recent falls. She wasn't here Wednesday, so let's continue to pray for Linda and her family. Please continue to pray for the Hardys. The passing of Mike's mother, Lois. The funeral was last Thursday. So please continue to encourage and pray for them. Let's continue to remember Paul Sanborn. Any updates on Paul this week?
His surgery is scheduled for May 29th.
Okay, so he has surgery scheduled for May 29th. Let's be praying for relief and some improvement with his back injury. Glenda Stanton not here this morning. She's still struggling with some issues. Please be praying for her. Crystal Wigley has her last immunotherapy treatment tomorrow at Emory, and then the next day, Tuesday, she goes to Kentucky for some biopsies. So please be praying for Crystal and Brian, her health and their travel. Lynn Haywood's still struggling with blood pressure, AFib challenges. Any updates on Lynn?
She's still not feeling well. She's going to the doctor on Friday to get the echo and Holter monitor.
Okay, so Holter monitor and echocardiogram on Friday. So please be praying for Lynn. She just doesn't feel good or have any energy. And then of course Randy Smith and Susan. Any prayer updates that you have this morning? Joe?
It's not a prayer request, but I guess in a way it is, but the active mind study that Clemson is doing, a research thing for the help with Alzheimer's. If anyone's interested in that, I told them I would do all I could they're still looking for more people.
Okay.
So just have them talk to me, and I will give them a phone number to call.
Okay, so if you have some history of Alzheimer's in your family, that would be an ideal candidate. Is that right?
Yeah, my mother died of that. It was very
Right.
painful. She suffered a long time.
So if you're interested in participating in the study, talk to Daryl, Alzheimer's research through Clemson. Thank you. Any other prayer requests this morning? All right, Brother Lynn.
Let us pray. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this beautiful day you provided for us once again. And Father, I come before your throne out there thanking you for all the wonderful blessings you bestow on us each and every day. And Father, there's been many mentions here this morning out there need your help. But I pray, Father, for all of our sick and afflicted. And I know, Father, out there knows you can help us if it be know your will. And Father, I pray for all the people out there in these wars out there, and especially one in Ukraine, Russia out there, who are losing all them young people who haven't even started their lives yet out there. No, 4,000 or 5,000 out there a week. And I pray, Father, we soon bring these wars to a conclusion. And Father, I pray also out there for this church, all the churches out there that doing your will. And Father, thank you so much for helping us out there with many, many wonderful things. In Jesus' name I pray, and amen.
Okay, we're in James chapter 3, James 3, beginning in verse 13. We have a busy day today, in case you didn't remember. Immediately after worship, we will have a fellowship meal in the fellowship hall. So I hope you're planning to stay for that. At which we will celebrate and recognize our two high school graduates, this London Lane and Parker Summers. They're here with us this morning. Really proud of them. And then after lunch, we come back in here at 1:30, and we'll have our second Sunday singing on the third Sunday. So I hope that you'll plan to stay for that as well. That's at 1:30. And then after the singing worship, we will have a baby shower for Thomas and Emily Weatherford. They are here and excited about that. So I hope that you're making plans to be here for that as well. So if you're confused, the cards for the graduates go in the fellowship hall. At the far end, there's a big sign and a table. You put cards, if you have any, for them on that table. And then gifts for the baby shower go in the college classroom. The baby shower will take place in the college classroom because of the meal. There are Bibles for Parker and London in the foyer on the right, just to the right of the main door here. Please sign those if you've not yet done so after Bible class or after worship. That's going to be your last chance. They're going to take those Bibles with them. They're going to go to college. You may never have a chance to sign those Bibles again. Please do that. Make that. And you may say, well, I don't know them very well. Well, you can encourage someone even if they don't know you very well, right? Words are lasting, so it'll just take a minute. Please do that. They're right back there. And then we also, because of the strange schedule this month, we also have a fellowship meal next Sunday, right? Because it's fourth Sunday, and it's tradition. So, and then VBS is coming up very quickly in 2 weeks. Is that right? 2 weeks. Let's be praying about that. You can sign up with the QR code or there are sheets on the foyer and sheets on the table in the foyer. You can fill out manually and give to Skip, and he'll enter. Y'all have done a great job taking those cards, handing them out. Take all of them. They're useless after a couple weeks. So pass them out. VBS will be Sunday evening to Tuesday evening. June 1st through 3rd. So let's support that and be praying about that. I think it's everything. Anything else I missed? Activity stuff? Okay. We are continuing our study of great questions in the New Testament. And this morning we're going to look at a passage from James. And the question is from James 3:13. Who among you is wise and understanding? So I want to read through this passage, just verses 13 to 17, and then let's look at this challenge that James gives to us. Who among you is wise and understanding? Let him show by his good behavior his deeds in the gentleness of wisdom. But if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your heart, do not be arrogant and so lie against the truth. This wisdom is not that which comes down from above, but is earthly, natural, demonic. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there is disorder and every evil thing. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, reasonable, full of mercy and good fruits, unwavering, without hypocrisy. So the challenge, of course, for Christians is to embody this spiritual wisdom rather than earthly wisdom. James is a very practical book. And so this is a challenge for us to use God's message in our daily lives. So how would you answer this question today? Who among you is wise and understanding? Who's he talking about? Among you. Who's the you? The church, Christians, right? It's not talking about wisdom in the world. That's a different thing. Who among Christians are wise and understanding? Does he really intend for the readers to think about this? Yeah, sure. Well, why else would he ask it in this? Jesus often taught with questions, and that's why we're using this as kind of our model for study this quarter. He wants them to think about it. Who would we consider? I don't want anyone to answer out loud. We don't want to embarrass anybody. But who in this congregation, who would you consider to be wise and understanding? What's your standard? How do you measure wisdom? What do you look for in a good Christian as an example, as someone you'll turn to for advice or help? That's kind of the challenge that James is presenting to us. And then he goes on to describe what a wise and understanding Christian looks like. So maybe you have a few names, faces in your mind right now. Let's see if they fit these criteria. That's kind of the idea. And of course, the ultimate challenge is how many of the Christians should embody wisdom and understanding. All of us should, right? That's our goal. That's hopefully where we are headed, right? So we're going to talk about these are synonyms, but two ideas. The first is wisdom. What does wise mean? Knowledgeable in the Word. Okay.
Able to correctly apply.
Okay, not just knowledge, but the ability to correctly apply knowledge, right? Any other stabs at wisdom? The Greek word is Sophia. A lot of English words reflect that, and this idea means the ability to understand the situation and then take a proper action within that given context, right? So I understand the context of my life, of this opportunity or temptation, and I am also able to assess correctly the correct action or response in that situation. So how important is wisdom? It's extremely important, right? We need wisdom in all of our decisions, our communications, all of our relationships. Sometimes we just have a split second to respond to something, right? Someone challenges you, or questions your faith, or questions your job, or questions God or the integrity of Jesus or His Word, right? Or talks about your family or your coworkers or something. How do you respond in the moment? We need to understand the situation, what's appropriate in that context, and then act on it. That's the biblical picture of wisdom. What about understanding? It's a challenge sometimes to translate synonyms in different languages. How would you describe understand? How do you understand understanding? You may have a different translation than I do. That's helpful also. Comprehension. Okay. Yeah. Again, it's related to knowledge, but the retaining of that knowledge. There's some people that take tests very well, but don't have a lot of common sense. Maybe, I'm not accusing anybody. Maybe you know some. Maybe you went to school with someone like that. They scored really well, but they didn't seem to know, how to get through life. Right? That's not what understanding is. You comprehend the idea. You retain it. Right? What else?
It would include empathy too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, empathy. You care about other people, not just focus from your perspective, and that's going to be an emphasis in this context for sure. The Greek word here is epistemon, not as common as Sophia, but epistemon means describes a person that has both knowledge and skill. They have knowledge and skill. So if you're training at a new job, you depend upon someone to teach you how to do the job, and hopefully they can also show you how to do it. Isn't there a difference between knowing how to do something and the ability to do it? This word understanding encompasses both. It's often used in a work-related context, right? You understand the task and you're able to accomplish it. So these are synonyms, but they carry the idea of a Christian. I understand the situation. I act properly. I know both what I need to know and how to do it.
And knowing how to do it and knowing how to show others to do it is two different things as well.
Yeah, that's right. There's an element of leadership too. And any other thoughts about verse 13 here? Okay. What does every wise Christian then exhibit? Still in the first verse. Good behavior, depending on your translation, and deeds. What kind of deeds? Good deeds. In what? Meekness, right? And my translation renders this gentleness, right? So a wise Christian will exhibit good behavior and deeds of gentleness. And I guess the cliche in fiction of a wise person is someone that's kind of lives in isolation, right? They at the top of a mountain, of course. And so to go get advice from this sage, you have to go to the top of the mountain, and they're of course very old, as that's often equated with wisdom, not inappropriately. And ask for advice. I'm facing this life challenge. I'm a young person. Well, how should I do that? And is that completely separate from the biblical picture of wisdom? No, but that's not the definition of a wise life according to James 3:13, right? He doesn't emphasize knowing and giving advice, but rather what? Action, behavior. A wise Christian is one who lives their faith, not one who can explain it. Not that that's unimportant, but true wisdom is through behavior. Do you have good behavior? I'm sure you're bringing your kids to worship. You probably use the phrase sometimes. Now it's going to be a long worship today, a long time at the church building. We got to do a meal and Bible class and worship and a meal and then worship again. And my girls love baby showers. I think they're planning to stay for that. But, that's a long day. So parents may say, be on your what? Best behavior. Is that inappropriate? No, of course that's appropriate. What is James's advice to all Christians? You need to always be on your best behavior. It really bothers me when some Christians will say to a child or someone else, don't talk like that in church. Don't talk like that in church. Don't say that in front of the preacher. That's a double. We may not be intending to, but we're suggesting a double standard, aren't we? It's okay to talk like that elsewhere, but don't talk like that when you're in the church building. Like it's a special holy place. Well, the assembly of God's people is holy and important, but I should be exhibiting good behavior all the time. When no one else is around, yes. When I'm not with other Christians, yes. When I'm tired and angry and hungry at home with my family, yes. I need to exhibit good behavior all the time. That's Christian wisdom, and that's a struggle, isn't it? It's a challenge. And then deeds in the gentleness of wisdom is how this translation renders it. Meekness, right, is another good translation here. This word is prautes in Greek. I really like this definition from BDAG regarding prautes. That's the second, that's the B up there, gentleness. This word means not being overly impressed by a sense of one's self-importance. Not being overly impressed by a sense of one's self-importance. So it relates to humility, right? So I'm willing to show kindness, service to other people because I don't feel that I'm above that, right? The Bible calls that wisdom. You have good behavior, that which is righteous and holy, and then you have humble, meek behavior. I'm not the most important person. Jesus is. I'm not more important than anyone else, so I will serve them. And that can be reflected in a lot of ways. Jesus proved this before the Last Supper, right? By doing what?
Washing their feet.
Washing the apostles' feet. I mean, that's an example, a powerful example of a deed of gentleness, right? He is the Son of God, the Creator of the universe, and yet he is willing to take on a menial task, what we would consider that. And there's a lot of opportunities for that. I mean, today there will be individuals back in the fellowship hall who pour drinks. You need a master's degree to pour drinks? No. Maybe washing dishes, cleaning tables afterward. It's often some of the same people that do that. Any of us could do it. Taking out the trash, that's it. I have a PhD. I should never have to take out the trash. I don't have a PhD. And I don't know anyone here. We have some PhDs here, but I don't know anyone that has that attitude. But that would be an inappropriate attitude, wouldn't it? Because of my standing, because if you have health problems, don't carry something heavy if you're likely to stumble, right? But in as much as we have the physical ability to serve, we should be serving. It doesn't matter the task, right? Our life should be characterized by deeds that disregard station or standing or intelligence or how much money we have, etc. Okay, so that's a picture of a wise Christian, someone that displays good behavior and deeds of gentleness. Any thoughts, questions? Verse 13. Okay. What character trait contradicts Christian wisdom then? Traits, sorry, there's two in verse 14. Jealousy, right? And selfish ambition. Again, translations may vary here, but something relating to bitter jealousy, selfish ambition. Those contradict God's picture of Christian wisdom. The first one, jealousy, is in the Greek the word zelos. Sometimes it's a good thing. It's often translated with the transliteration word zeal, right? If you are zealous for something that is good, that's a good thing. Someone that is has intense feelings towards something, right? I really want to do that. If it's a good thing, that's good, right? But often zelos can be negative. It depends on how the context determines it. And in this context, it's qualified by the word bitter. So this is a negative thing. This contradicts Christian wisdom. It is bitter impression or strong feeling about something. In this case, about other people. The BDAG lexicon defines bitter jealousy as intense negative feelings over another's achievements or success. Can you imagine what that feels like? Intense negative feelings over another's achievements or success. End of the school year brings a lot of awards gatherings and things like that. Our family's involved in those right now. And so you have a large number of kids in a class or a sports team or whatever the group may be. But usually only a small number gets recognized, go up on the stage, get a plaque or a medal or a award of some sort. Could there be jealousy among other students? Well, I thought I did better than they did in that class. Some of them are very objective, right, just based on grades or performance. Some, the teacher says, that's my favorite student. They behave the best. They get the award. Well, yeah, that was just the teacher's pet. I actually had a better grade in that class than that person did. Could there be jealousy among parents? That's a temptation too. I'm partial to my kids. I think they should have been recognized. They should have been chosen for that team. They should have been chosen for that honors group or whatever the case may be. Is that a temptation in the workplace, in the home? Absolutely. In the church. Yes. All of those contexts. Jealousy is a challenge. It is inappropriate. It is against Christian wisdom. I should not think bad about other people because of what they have. And life in general, it's a temptation, right? Why does that person have a good marriage? Why does that person have healthy children? Why does that person have a high-paying job, right? It's easy to be jealous about the standing, the lives of other people. But it is completely against the standard that God has called us to, right? Easier said than done. So I need to display good behavior, deeds of gentleness, instead of being jealous of them, right? Instead of being jealous of people, I should be serving people. Isn't that what Jesus displayed, right? TJ?
I was just thinking that what you just said about why does he have a better job, why he has a better marriage, why does he have a better marriage?
Yeah, can you answer those questions?
The first thing you should do is look at yourself.
Look at myself?
Yeah. If you're saying that, you need to look at yourself.
Okay, how do you mean?
If somebody has a better marriage than I do, look at myself, what am I doing? What am I doing that could be doing harm to my marriage?
Yeah.
Or in that sense, to any other.
Right. So, yeah, there are some things that are outside of our control, right? And we need to be humble and acknowledge some people are going to there's always going to be somebody richer, smarter, better looking than me. That's life, right? But there are some things, I think what you're saying, there are some things we can change, right? How can I improve my relationships? How can I do a better job at work, at home, etc.? Yeah, good point. Looking at other people's successes and being obsessed about that takes time and zeal that should be directed toward improving my life as a Christian. Good point. Other thoughts about bitter jealousy? Y'all don't have problems with that, right? Of course we all do. We don't have to imagine what this feels like because we've all felt it, right? That's against God's wisdom. And then the second, selfish ambition, is one word in Greek, eritheia, and basically carries the idea of obsession with self-care. Obsession with self-care. Is that a temptation? Probably, sure. To focus on self. Is it sinful to love yourself? No. In fact, the second greatest commandment, according to Jesus, is love your neighbor. What? As yourself, right? So we are to love ourselves. God loves you. You should love yourself. Should I take care of my physical well-being? Sure. Ephesians chapter 5, exhorting husbands, you should care for your wife, take care of yourself. You don't neglect your own body. You care for your own body. The idea is you should take care of yourself, but you should take care of your spouse too. So it's not wrong to take care of yourself, but is an obsession with self-care dangerous? Sure it is. Can that consume your life? Absolutely it can. And there are people that fall prey to this pretty frequently. I think about, I don't know, you hear about famous people sometimes, and, I should take care of my body, but if I'm so obsessed with my diet, with my health, with my exercise, that I'm neglecting spiritual things, that's becoming more of an obsession than self-care, right? I mean, how obsessed is our culture with physical appearance? And huge, probably more difficult for women than for men, the pressure there. But how many billions of dollars does the U.S. spend on cosmetics every year? Haircuts, clothes, billion. I didn't look it up. I didn't think about this in advance, but billions of dollars just for the appearance of our physical bodies. I've heard. I'm sure intentions are good when people say, I've learned I've learned over time to love my body. I've fallen in love with my body. Have you heard that before? I don't understand that. What does that even mean? Why fall in love with your body? That's not our focus. I mean, I'm not that good looking, right? There's only so much you can do with this, right? Think about the money spent on plastic surgeries. I mean, again, astronomical. If you're in show business, the pressure is even greater, I'm sure. You can be upset, and then how many magazines are dedicated to exercise and being, again, is exercise important? Yes. You got one life, you got one physical life. Try to take care of yourself. Eat healthy food, exercise. But I can be obsessed with the food that I'm eating. I can become obsessed with my exercise routine and neglect the spiritual, neglect serving and caring for other people. That's not spiritual wisdom, right? Yeah.
I was going to say, obsessions can be really, really damaging too. And you're talking about cosmetic surgery. I've seen pictures of famous people
Yeah.
who get hooked on cosmetic surgery. And they're beautiful before they start, but then when they get done with all the plastic surgery, they look like an ogre.
Yeah. It can have some negative effects and some, I mean, even death is, anytime you have surgery, there's a risk, right? So yeah, and the money that goes toward those things could have been used to help other people, right? Anyway, and I mean, Yanning and I worked in China for a bit where they did cleft palate, cleft lip surgeries. I think that is very important and worth it, right? We're getting braces for our kids. That's cosmetic. So I'm not against all types of self-care, but it should not be our focus. It should not be our obsession, and that's the idea with selfish ambition here. I want to. It's not wrong to want to be successful, to try to do your best in school, and to try to achieve good things and have a good job and career. Those aren't bad aspirations, but that should not be the goal of my life. That should not be the focus of my time, right? If I'm completely focused on job, then I'm not focused on Jesus, right? And that's reality. And there are some people in the U.S., maybe they're not focused on their physical body, they're obsessed with their career. That's everything. And I'm missing opportunities to serve other people and honor God. Life is a balance. You need to eat, you need to sleep, you need to exercise, you need to work. But the Christian wisdom emphasizes serving other people, exhibiting righteous behavior over jealousy and selfish ambition. So, further, are jealousy and selfish ambition promoted as wisdom today? I think in some sense they are. Look at our advertising, right? Buy this makeup brand. Come to this university. You're worth it. It's all about you, right? And that's promoted as wisdom. To push yourself up, sometimes you got to what? Push other people down, right? Selfishness is a big part of our culture. I'm thankful for the opportunities we have in this country. If you want to start your own company, you can go to a bank tomorrow, probably, if you have good standing. Go to a bank tomorrow, get a big loan, and start your own company. Isn't that amazing? There's a lot of details that go on with that. A lot of countries can't do that. We have opportunities that other places don't, but we must not let that become our focus, right? We have more disposable income than most countries. Isn't that great? It can be if we use it for good. If we use it just to make ourselves look better and buy more clothes and et cetera, we're not using it properly. These things, I think, are promoted as wisdom in our schools, in our workplaces, in our homes, and certainly in entertainment. We must recognize they contradict God's plan for Christian wisdom. Okay, let's see. Verse 15 tells us the true source of these problems: jealousy and selfish ambition, and they are rooted in what? Yeah, thinking about ourselves. They're not from above, verse 15, but they're from where? Translations may vary. Mine says earthly, natural, demonic. So if we're focused on jealousy and ambition, we need to recognize the source of those priorities, and they're not from God. Earthly means it's not heavenly, right? This isn't God's will. A natural means it's not spiritual. We talked about that. It's possible to completely focus your life on physical things instead of spiritual. And then demonic means it's not divine. Satan's desire is to pull us into these futile pursuits against God. And then verse 16, what does jealousy and selfish ambition lead to? Or sorry, what do jealousy and selfish ambition lead to? I should have listed. Confusion, evil. Again, translations will vary here. Mine reads disorder, every evil thing. When we focus on jealousy and selfish ambition, it's me against you, right? It's us against the world. And if that inundates the church, now there's competition in the church. I don't know who I can trust. Can I tell anyone anything? They may use it against me, right? To make me look. I open my heart and tell them a struggle I'm facing. They might share that with our coworkers to try to push me down, get me to leave so they can have my job. You know, that's dangerous. There is disorder. There is evil. Sin spawns more sin. When I'm jealous if I have bitter jealousy against someone, I'm tempted now to do what? You ever been bitterly jealous before? What do you want to do when you're jealous of someone? Sabotage them. Yeah, make them look bad. Take them down a peg or two. Right? I want to take their place. If I'm focused on myself and not others, I may completely disregard other people, right? And their needs, or even lie about them to try to promote myself. These sinful attitudes lead to sinful life. And this isn't hypothetical. I just look at the world today. Not to pick on Hollywood, but those people that completely focus on themselves and their physical appearance don't tend to have good marriages, right? They keep trying it, apparently, some 4 or 5 times, depending on the case. But if you're focused on yourself, how can you be a good spouse? If you're focused on yourself, how can you be a good parent, right? If you're focused on money, how can you be a good friend? Those are contradictory. It leads to disorder, every evil thing. Okay, questions, comments through verse 16. David?
I look at some of the Hollywood type people, and I think about how they talk about how well they look and how beautiful they are. Where did they get that? That was God given.
Yeah, that's right.
And you can't build a face, or you can. You can't really build some of that stuff. That's God given. That's not something they should take in the other direction.
Yeah, good point. And part of gentleness, humility, is recognizing the gifts that have come from God, as David is suggesting. So part of the way that I can view other people as equal to myself is using God's view, right? I'm a sinner. You're a sinner. We're in need of God's grace. We're in the same boat. I should not think of myself better or less than you, right? That should help us with that. And the gifts that I have, my physical body, my family, my talents, my intelligence, all of those things, as David says, are gifts from God. I should give Him praise instead of self-praise. And mankind over the millennia has come up with different ways to worship people worship, and we have that to some degree in this culture today. Worship myself. Well, worship is appropriate, but the source, the object of worship is also very important. So yeah, worship God can help us with all these things. Recognize Him as the giver. Good point. Other thoughts in this section? Yep.
Jesus said, be humble.
Yeah. Right. Humble yourself, and who will lift you up? God will. Jesus said, you take the lowest seat at the dinner, and then if you're moved up, that's great. If you're pushed down, you're part of the problem. So verse 17 has some characteristics of heavenly wisdom, and these are things that all of us should try to embody. My text is really tiny, so you may not be able to. I wanted to get them all in one page. Sorry about that. But anyway, look at your Bible. Your translations may vary a little bit. But first characteristic is pure. Pure. What does a pure life look like?
Well, if it's really pure, then it's free from sin.
Yeah. Purity, not just emphasizing the goodness of the substance, but the absence of bad substances, right? Like, Philip, what's a bottle of completely pure water worth these days?
7-Eleven's about $3.
$3 at 7-Eleven, and that's probably just spring water, right? So how do you remove all the contaminants from that water? Well, there's processes to do that, right? The valuable water is free from those things. I don't always talk about fluoride getting banned, Anyway, that's not our subject today. What about gold? Gold is worth more when it's not inundated by impurities, right? So pure gold is more valuable. And so it is with a Christian life. A pure life is not defiled or contaminated by evil, by sin. Get it out. Yes, we're all sinners, but you've died to that if you're a Christian. We got to push those contaminants away with God's help. Yeah, Philip.
It seems that James, if I'm looking at it right, James has put the emphasis on pure. It's first of all pure.
Yeah.
That's not just one of the items in the list, it's emphasized in the list.
Okay, good point. Probably not a coincidence, grammar-wise. First pure, and then these things, add to your faith, as Peter writes, right? So good point. We've got to be pure. If we have evil in the mix, these other things are just going to be contradictory, right? Good point. Second, peaceable. What does peaceable mean? Seeking peace. Jesus said, Matthew 5, blessed are the peacemakers, right? You gotta make work at peace. Okay.
Without conflict.
Yeah, without conflict. Now, is it possible to have peace with everyone? No, Jesus didn't. Romans chapter 12, Paul says, as much as depends upon what? You be at peace with all people, right? A good relationship requires a desire from both sides to have a good relationship. Jesus had bad relationships with people, not because of his problem, but because of theirs. We should do our best to be free from conflict and be at peace with all people. It doesn't mean we compromise the truth. We cannot. We must not. But we should work to be peaceable. That's a characteristic of good wisdom. Gentle. Anybody else have a different word for number 3, verse 17? Pure, peaceable, gentle. That's what I got. This word means not insisting on every right. Not insisting on every right. So, unfortunately, there's a cultural phenomenon described in the U.S. by the rich, mean American woman called Karens, and that's unfortunate because there's a lot of good Karens in the world, right? Don't be what is that? Somebody that thinks they're privileged, they're better than you, they have more rights than you, and they view you as a lesser person. Christian wisdom is opposite of that. Not only you can recognize your rights, but you don't always insist on it, right? You may have a right to something, but you don't always insist on it. That can help with our relationships. Next is related to that, reasonable. Pure, peaceable, gentle, reasonable. This word means compliant or willing to give in. Now, in society, we see someone willing to give in. We think they're what? They're weak. They ain't got no backbone. Of course we stand for the truth. That's not the issue here. But if it's a matter of opinion, be willing to give in, be compliant, going along with peace and gentle. Don't always insist on your way. That's what these words mean. You don't have to have it your way all the time. Let other people win. That's true for a lot of relationships. And then we're out of time, but we'll go through these quickly. Full of mercy, expressing concern for someone in need. You actually care about other people. That's the opposite of selfish ambition, right? You actually are concerned about other people. You have compassion. You want to help other people. Full of good fruits. I think I talked about that enough in sermons recently. Good fruit means action, speech, right? That brings about positive behavior and results. Unwavering or impartial. I'm not showing favoritism. I'm going to stand in the truth. And then finally, without hypocrisy. Without hypocrisy means we are genuine or sincere. When you talk to a Christian, that should be the same person every time. Not that we don't have emotions and difficulties, but they're telling the truth. That's the real personality of the person you see. Don't be a hypocrite. Okay. So, based on this detailed description, who among you is wise and understanding? So James starts with that, right? Who among you is wise and understanding, then describes what a wise Christian looks like. And so we should ask this question, I think, again. Are we exhibiting these characteristics? Are we unselfishly serving God and other people? Are we removing contamination from our lives and focusing on the spiritual while not neglecting the physical? That's Christian wisdom. Okay, next week we're going to look at hopefully 2. These are short ones. What is your life? James 4:14. And what sort of people ought you to be? 2 Peter 3:11. This will be our last class. In 2 weeks, Skip is going to be in here teaching on the Godhead. So be preparing for that. Thank you for your participation today. Remember, sign the Bibles, please.